YouTube recently just announced that they are tightening their rules on AI content.
For them, they want to find people who are bringing value. I got a problem with that regardless, because at the end of the day, if you allow this content to be on your platform, and if you are able to monetize, then yes, the people who created them should also share in the revenue, especially if they're bringing their viewers.
If you're getting the eyeballs, whether it's AI generated, if it's getting 1 million, 2 million views, even if it's AI, you still have to give it the input, the prompt. So I guess it's still original to a certain degree.
And it doesn't even start till July 15th. Oh, wait, we're really close to that. So I'm just going to smile. All right, so this is something that's near and dear to everybody here and all those in the creator studio. So apparently YouTube recently just announced that they are tightening their rules on AI content. And so if you're one of those people who use AI to get your channel started or keep it going, just know that if you're using AI voices, scripts, or visuals, you may not be eligible for monetization. Now, over here at the BLC Pod, we ain't been doing that, so I think we kind of straight. But for those who are doing it, this may be a time to revisit your process here. In the meanwhile, is this a win for authenticity, or is this a biased move to protect some of the major studios? What do you guys think? Like, what's going on with this policy? Is it anti-creator or pro-originality?
So I wanted to tap in real quickly because I did do a little bit of research for like all of 5 minutes while I was on the toilet. And too much information. I'm sorry. This early in the show, I'm like, let me look up this YouTube thing. But no, for real. But no, some clarity here, right? So I forgot, I think it was the creator liaison from YouTube came out and said, listen, y'all, I hear the rumors about the changes that's being made. They already had some of these things in place. What they're talking about is basically enforcing them. And what they're really focused on, according to her, are the channels that aren't really adding any value. So like if your channel has nothing but AI stuff. So a lot of people are doing the faceless videos, for example, right? So if your channel has nothing but faceless videos where it's nothing but AI voiceovers and some, screens or whatever, some B-roll, then yeah, you might be in danger, right? Because to them, especially if it's repetitive, if it's something that is not kind of out there, for them, they want to find people who are bringing value, right? So that doesn't necessarily affect creators who are doing recap videos, right? Because some of the language made it seem like, oh, if you're doing like repetitive content, I think for them, and especially with the rise of AI, they're saying, hey, we know that people are mass producing this content and they're putting it on our platforms, and then they're going to decide how or not to monetize them. Now, I got a problem with that regardless, because at the end of the day, if you allow this content to be on your platform, and if people are able, and if you are able to monetize, then yes, the people who created them should also share in the revenue, especially if they're bringing their viewers at the end of the day. So I don't know if YouTube is going as far as to say, hey, we're turning the monetization off for these. And I think that's what they kind of said too. So that might not be an issue. But if the monetization is on, then that's what's up. But for us, like, I thought about doing content that had a little bit more faceless element to it. Yes, maybe it could even be our voices. And by the way, did you know there's platforms that can take our voices and recreate them into AI voices so that we don't necessarily even have to do it? So how would they even be able to tell if it was me or AI me dropping some gems like I normally do, right? I mean, honestly, if I could scale up by having AI me replicate me, I mean, that's a win-win for everybody, including YouTube. So I get what they're trying to do. The last thing I'll say though too is creators got to be mindful that at the end of the day, these are these companies' platforms, right? And so their interest is to make money and make sure their platform grows and benefits them. And of course, in many cases or some cases, it's aligned with the creator. So what creators have to do is figure out how you can bring your audience or gain your audience or grow your audience on a particular platform, and then off platform if you have to, right? In terms of giving them other places they can reach you. Platforms like Patreon. Nonetheless, though, these are all still platforms, right? And you have a limited amount of control in regards to your content and how it's monetized. So you just got to be able to kind of monetize in a lot of different ways. But I just think that initially people were taking this and running with it. Yes, it's of concern for those who might be in that lane, but for people who are genuinely trying to bring value and have great conversations like here, us at the BLC Pod, then we good. So continue to tap in for that realness. You heard what I'm saying? So Delvin, what you think, man?
Yeah, well, I think we are good because we write our own scripts and we do our own stunts. No AI here. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And I did a little bit of the research that you did similar as well. And on the face of it, it comes across, I'm kind of in the middle because it seems like it's a bit of a little protection racket for original content. And I don't want to use the word racket. It's kind of a loaded term. But if you're getting the eyeballs, whether it's AI generated, if it's getting 1 million, 2 million views, if it's good content, does it's you could even if it's AI, you still have to give it the input, the prompt. So I guess it's still original to a certain degree. And I was wondering, I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you guys do. What are other platforms like Rumble saying about this? I've kind of gone over on TikTok, and there's a lot of AI generated content. I'm not really sure uh, what their policy is on that for monetization. Maybe you guys can educate me on that. But I see both sides of it. But I think the original content, especially if it's really good, it's going to always win out. That's my personal feeling. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts? Educate me a little bit.
So I'm just going to say, as an author, and knowing that there's a lot of AI generated books now currently in the market. So to the point where Amazon, as an example, had to limit how many AI books can be published under one author to 7 a day. So now, if you're limiting it,
Only 7?
exactly.
Wow.
And so
They working. They
I
working.
personally support this because it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy to create original content. It takes a lot of time, effort, and energy to put your thought process out there, knowing that it's going to be judged or whatnot. And without the AI assistance, although I will say that thanks to Nick, I am starting to call chat my bitch because chat GPT be on it. And so, however, I support the changes to and recognize it. And it's actually occurring, to answer your question, it's actually occurring across a lot of platforms where they're trying to monitor AI a little bit more, because this has been raised as a concern. And places like the Authors Guild and some other people have already sued for the amount of AI content that has been put out there in the ether, so to speak. So I'm all for this policy change, especially since it was talking about, in this particular case, it was actually really narrow focus. So I'm glad Nick pointed that out in regards to whole mass content produced as well as repetitive content. And so they're very precise in the language. And it doesn't even start to July 15th. Oh, wait, we're really close to that. So I'm just going to smile because I'm enjoying the fact that AI will now be moderated, basically. And so kudos, YouTube. Yay!
So I'll say this before we move on, right, about the AI thing, because I feel like I might be the strongest AI advocate here. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you fall in love with a chick with 4 letters in her name, right? Who just does everything. You know, Lena, I love you too. But the point, right, 4 letters as well. But the point I'm trying to make is I get, and I think Devin said this too, right? It does require input, right? I don't think that AI is at the point, and maybe it will, right? To the point where it can just do everything. But there's still a need for human creativity, right? There's still a need for the person to use the tools. I tend to look at AI more as a tool, right? And I feel like a lot of us are resistant to using these tools. Like, for example, if you're an author, right? How many people don't write books because they don't have the tools necessary to feel empowered to get their thoughts expressed? So if you have an idea for whatever the book is, right? Hey, work with an AI to develop the structure. Hey, I want to write a book. What's a good structure for my book? How should I lay it out to be successful? Right? Can you help me kind of get my thoughts out there? Right? As you put out there, it gets the input and helps you create. So it can be a part of the creative process. I think if used in an authentic way, right? So I get that. And maybe in the future, there will be AI that can just write whole movies and then just put digital characters in them. And now all of a sudden there'll be no humans to be in movies, right? That could be possible. But will the consumer watch it then? Right? And then does the consumer then who's like, wait a minute, I can go see this movie for free or for the cheap, right? So I just kind of feel like, yes, there's always going to be a struggle from technology and authenticity. So that's easy for me to say. But I think the challenge also is whether or not it provides value to the consumer. Because honestly, I don't think the consumer cares. You know what I'm saying? Not in that way. They care when they're in danger. But if you're talking about the arts, if you're talking about watching things and consuming content, I don't think the consumer really cares as long as it's good or believable at the end of the day, right? So I just think that if people really care, then they should show up with their pockets or what they choose to support. You know what I'm saying? And maybe then that will help stem the tide. But if you're just talking about letting technology run rampant, it's already a dove. You know what I'm saying? It's already L. You either get with it or get rolled the fuck over at this point. You know what I'm saying? To chat or not to chat. That's the question in 2025. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what your take was, or were you any of you guys aware of what what Hollywood's view on this? You know,
Oh, yeah.
they're kind of YouTube adjacent.
No, S&M said that before when they had the last, what was it, the boycott or whatever. There was a lot of conversations even a few years back then in regards to how AI would be used in the industry, because there's a legitimate fear of what AI can do for real, for real. So I think all industries, especially creative ones, music included, right? There's been a conversation about the industry there where I think it was Drake who used the whole Tupac hologram sound as people making fake artists. And so, yeah, bro, it's already permeating. So I get why the humans are scared. And I don't know that you're going to be able to stem that tide. I just think you got to either figure out a way to protect yourself, and you need the consumers to be complicit as well. Because if they're going to support the AI music, then hey, you can't get mad. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to support AI Drake. But go ahead. Not AI Drake.
AI Drizzy.
Yeah, he might even be allowed on Carnival, honestly. I mean, because his music is like international. It's not just rap.
Yeah.
What you said?
Yeah, we got a little room for him.